Hey there, welcome. I'm Jenna and today I thought I would just show you my really quick, simple, everyday kind of look. This is the type of makeup I will do on days where I don't have a lot of time, usually my work days because I have to get up early before my daughter wakes up. The products I'm using, I am not really going to mention them simply because that's not what this video is about. I don't want you to think that you have to use this particular foundation or this particular mascara or, whatever. It's about using what you have and being able to create a look with what you have on hand. I don't want you to think that you have to go out and buy all of these products or the products that I'm using. Some of them probably aren't even available anymore, but I don't want you to think that you have to buy the products that I am using to achieve the same sort of look. If there's a certain consistency or formula that I think will work a lot easier, of course I will explain that. Perfect example is going to be the foundation. But I want you to be able to use the products that you have on hand. I don't want you to have to spend a lot of money. Use what you've got and pick and choose what is important to you. The beauty of these kinds of looks is that you don't have to go out and purchase specific products. You can use what you've got on hand, and they're versatile in the sense of, say for me, eyebrows, I have to put something through my brows because they're like non-existent. Whereas if you have beautiful, fluffy, manageable brows, you may not think that a brow product is necessary. But I just wanted to give you an idea of what I do and share some tips with you that I've learned along the way, especially since becoming a mum, because you have zero time left ever. So I will share some tips along the way. But I'm just going to start putting some makeup on my face. All of the products I'm using I will list down below if you're interested. I'm just not really going to mention them. So one tip I have is to use products that you're not only familiar with, but ones that you know work well for you. You don't want to be trying out like a new foundation or a new product in general on these kinds of days, because you can't really guarantee that they're going to work. And you don't want to, if something goes wrong, you don't want to have to be trying to fix it when you don't have time. Now with foundations, one thing that I have actually learned about different formulas is that a runny foundation kind of like this one, like you can see that it's not really a thick formula, something like this works a lot better on these days because you can just blend it in with your fingers. You don't have to worry too much about using a brush or a sponge or anything like that. You can literally just blend it in and it won't look like you've gotten dressed in the dark. It will be relatively easy to blend. I've only just put a really light layer of foundation on my face. This isn't really a day where I'm going heavy into my foundation. It's really just to even out skin tone more than anything. If you want to use a BB cream, you can. If you want to mix your foundation with a little bit of moisturizer, go for it. It really doesn't matter. Another thing that I've learned along the way with these kinds of looks is you will have to leave out steps, and that was really difficult for me at first because I thought that every step was so important and I couldn't miss out anything, and I had to do like 15 different makeup steps when it's not really the case, not for what I need out of this kind of makeup look. So what I ended up doing was just sitting down and really thinking about what steps were non-negotiable. So for me, I have pretty dark under eye circles. I do get bags under my eyes, from lack of sleep. So concealer is a non-negotiable step for me. Even if I were to not even put foundation on, I would still use concealer because it's necessary for me to feel better about myself, to feel a little bit more confident. So my advice would be to think about what products are the most important to you, what you find are non-negotiable steps, and then work your way out from them. And see what you can fit into a certain time frame as well. You don't have to do a full face, but you want to do enough to make yourself feel comfortable and be confident while wearing it. Another thing that I've learned along the way is have everything set out the night before. When I am intending on putting makeup on, half the time it just never happens. But if I am planning on wearing makeup to work the next morning or to whatever the next morning, I'll actually come in here the night before and I will lay everything out. So I'll lay out all of my brushes, I'll lay out all of the products that I'm planning on using, and I'll have it just sitting right here at the front of my desk, so that way I don't have to think about it in the morning. I don't want to have to think about where the products are, how, like, did I put that thing away and everything like that. So keep it out, have a little bit of planning beforehand. You would be surprised the amount of time you waste just by looking for a brush. So I'm a fan of being able to use my hands for a lot of these steps, for blending out foundation, for blending in concealer, rather than having to use like a beauty sponge. Because honestly, by the time I get in here, the last thing I want to do is actually get up and wet my beauty sponge. It's literally in the next room, but I just don't want to have to do that because it's generally like 5:30 in the morning and I just can't be bothered. One other tip I have is use the same product in a couple of different ways. So for example, I've got my bronzer here. I'm actually going to put that in my crease as just like an all over shadow, and then I'll typically put a shimmer on the lid as well. So use your products in different ways if you can. If you highlight and you bronze, use your highlighter as like a shimmer shade, or highlight the inner corner of your eyes to make yourself look a little bit brighter and awake. So I'm just sort of throwing this, like you can tell I'm just being really haphazard with it, and I'm just kind of throwing that in the crease. Honestly, that was more time than I would typically take in a morning anyway, because I kind of have time now. And then I'm just going to take just a shimmer and tap that all over. You don't have to. I just really like shimmers. I'm a bit of a shimmer whore, so I am going to put a shimmer and it just kind of makes it look like I've put a little bit more effort in when really I've put, you know, next to nothing in. And then I just kind of blend it out with my fingers. Can blend it out with the same brush if you want to, but of course that's up to you. If you don't have time, if you can't be bothered, then just don't do it. You don't have to. And this is exactly what I mean by you waste time trying to find brushes. I've literally lost the brush that I just used. Oh, there it is. So there we go. And then that's the eyes done. I am going to put mascara on, of course, but you know, super simple. Even if I wanted to like blend down here, because I do love a bit of a under eye blend, you can do that as well. That probably did nothing. It's fine. Now I'm going to do my brows. This kind of depends on how much time I've got. If I've got a little bit more time, I will use like an eyebrow pencil. If I don't, I will just use an eyebrow gel, and I will literally just kind of slap it into my eyebrows. One other tip I have is to have a clock with you or some sort of timer with you, so that way you know exactly how much time you have left. So what I will generally do is I'll bring my phone in here with me and I will keep an eye on the time while I'm doing this. I love applying eyeshadow. That's kind of my favorite step. So I will generally do my eyes last, only because, one, if I do them first, I will literally run out of time. I will lose all sense of time, and I will spend the whole 10 minutes I have doing my eyeshadow. And two, if I come to the end of my routine and I've done really well for time, like I have plenty of time left over, that then gives me the freedom to do something a little bit fancier with my eyes if I choose to do so. So having a clock with you, or having something to time you, or so you can monitor how you're going for time, is absolutely essential. So I'm going to curl my lashes off camera. The reason I curl my lashes off camera is because it looks freaky. So I will be back after I have curled my lashes to put on mascara. Now, you've probably noticed by now, I don't know if I've even mentioned this, but you've probably noticed by now that I've skipped a fair few steps. In my opinion, you're going to have to cut some steps out in order to achieve this within 10 minutes, because it's just not doable, not for me anyway. So for my lips, I generally won't apply any sort of lipstick because I'm not going to reapply it throughout the day. So there's really no point. I'll generally just put some sort of moisturizing balm or treatment or whatever on them. Maybe throw on a gloss, but that's pretty much it. I'll just kind of leave them bare and get on with my day. But that is pretty much the whole look. This is probably the quickest video I've ever done. So this is the finished look. It's super easy, super fast, very, very simple. Like literally anybody could pretty much do this look. The only tools I used for this was a big fluffy face brush, a crease brush, and a spoolie, which if you're using any kind of brow product, there's generally a spoolie on the end of them anyway. And of course my eyelash curler. But for the rest of it, I just used my fingers. I tapped out my concealer with my fingers. I blended out my foundation with my fingers. So you don't need to have all of this fancy equipment. I have used 1, 2, 3, 4. I used 5 products to do my whole face. If you have the smallest makeup collection, you would be able to do this. So that's it, guys. This is pretty much it. Like I said, very simple, very easy. Pretty much anybody can do this makeup look. So let me know what you think. Let me know if it was helpful. And yeah, so that is it for this video. Thank you so much once again for hanging out with me today and listening to my rambling. And I will see you in my next one. Bye.